You've heard of dreadlocks, reggae, and Bob Marley. But do you know where Rastafarianism really began? In this video, we'll take you deep into the heart of Jamaica, where a spiritual and cultural movement was born out of struggle, pride, and a powerful dream of Africa. You'll discover how a Jamaican prophet, an African emperor, and a people searching for freedom gave rise to one of the world's most unique belief systems. From Marcus Garvey's bold prophecy to the rise of reggae and global Rasta culture, we're breaking it all down. This is the true story of how Rastafarianism began in Jamaica. After slavery was abolished in Jamaica in 1838, freedom didn't bring prosperity. Most formerly enslaved people were left with nothing: no land, no money, and no power. British colonial rule still controlled the island, and poverty was everywhere. Jamaicans faced racism, harsh working conditions, and deep inequality. In the cities, especially places like Kingston, poor communities struggled just to survive. But out of this hardship came a growing desire for more. Not just money, but identity, dignity, and spiritual freedom. Many Jamaicans started to question everything. Why are we still living like this? Where do we really come from? And is there a better life waiting somewhere? Maybe in Africa? These questions laid the foundation for something powerful. A movement that would reconnect them to their roots and rewrite the story of who they really were. To understand how Rastafarianism began, you need to know one name: Marcus Garvey. Born in 1887 in St. Ann's Bay, Jamaica, Garvey was a writer, speaker, and political leader who believed that Black people across the world needed to unite and rise. He founded the UNIA, the Universal Negro Improvement Association, and became a global voice for Black pride, self-reliance, and African unity. Garvey taught that Black people should embrace their African identity, not feel ashamed of it. He often said, "A people without knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." But it was one particular statement that would change everything. "Look to Africa, where a Black king shall be crowned, for the day of deliverance is near." Then, in 1930, something historic happened. In Ethiopia, Rastafari Makanan was crowned Emperor Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. To many Jamaicans, this wasn't just a royal ceremony. It was a prophecy fulfilled. A real Black king, ruling a free African nation that had never been colonized? That was powerful. Some began to believe that Haile Selassie was not just a king. He was divine. And with that belief, a new movement was born. In the early 1930s, a new spiritual movement began to rise in Jamaica, especially in poor urban areas like Kingston and Spanish Town. It was more than just religion. It was a form of resistance, identity, and hope for the future. Several key figures helped shape this movement: Leonard Howell, Joseph Hibbert, Archibald Dunkley, and Robert Hines. But one name stood out: Leonard Howell. Often called the first Rasta, Howell was a radical thinker. He preached that Haile Selassie was the returned Messiah, the living God, Yah. He openly rejected British colonial rule and called for Black Jamaicans to embrace their African heritage. In his teachings, he encouraged people to see themselves as kings and queens, separate from the oppressive system, which he called Babylon, live naturally, spiritually, and free. His followers were often poor, marginalized people, the ones society ignored. But to them, Howell's message was powerful. It gave them a new name, a new purpose, and a new identity: Rastafari. And with that, the movement officially began. Rastafarianism isn't just a religion, it's a way of life. And at its heart are a few powerful beliefs that shape everything Rastas do and stand for. First and foremost, Haile Selassie is Jah, the living God, the returned Messiah. Rastas believe he came to restore pride, dignity, and connection to Africa. Second, repatriation. Rastafarians believe that Africa, especially Ethiopia, is their spiritual homeland. Many dream of one day returning to the motherland, physically or spiritually. Third, the Ital lifestyle. This means living naturally, eating clean, plant-based food, avoiding processed products, and staying away from harmful influences. It's about purity of body, mind, and spirit. And finally, the rejection of Babylon. Babylon represents everything corrupt and oppressive: colonial powers, greedy governments, and systems that keep people down. Rastas believe in stepping away from Babylon and building a life rooted in truth, freedom, and African consciousness. These beliefs are more than ideas. They're a form of spiritual resistance, and they continue to guide Rastas around the world to this day. One of the most recognizable parts of Rastafarian culture is the dreadlocks. But they're more than just a hairstyle. They carry deep meaning. The inspiration comes from the Bible, specifically the Nazarites, who vowed not to cut their hair as a sign of devotion to God. For Rastas, dreadlocks are spiritual, a symbol of strength, patience, and a natural connection to Jah. Wearing dreads is also a rejection of Western beauty standards and colonial influence. It's a way of saying, we don't need to change ourselves to fit into Babylon's world. Along with dreadlocks, Rastas proudly wear the colors red, gold, green, and sometimes black. These colors come from the Ethiopian flag and represent red, the blood of martyrs; gold, the wealth and light of Africa; green, the land and its beauty; black, the people and their identity. Together, the look and symbols of Rastafari send a powerful message, one of pride, resistance, and spiritual freedom. In its early years, Rastafarianism was not welcomed by Jamaican society. Rastas were seen as outcasts, dangerous, rebellious, even mad. The police regularly raided Rasta communities, destroyed homes, and arrested people without cause. Just having dreadlocks or talking about Haile Selassie was enough to be labeled a threat. Rastas spoke out against Babylon, the system, and that made the system fight back. The media helped push the fear. Newspapers and radio shows portrayed Rastas as criminals, drug users, and radicals. But behind the headlines, most Rastas were peaceful people seeking spiritual freedom, unity, and justice. Still, the persecution was real, and it lasted for decades. But even with the pressure, the movement didn't fade. In fact, it grew stronger, and soon, the world would start to hear its voice through the music. In the 1960s and 70s, something powerful happened. Reggae music became the voice of Rastafari. Born in the streets of Kingston, reggae carried the rhythm of struggle, faith, and resistance. And at the center of it all was one man, Bob Marley. Marley wasn't just a musician, he was a messenger. Through songs like Get Up, Stand Up, One Love, and War, he brought Rastafarian beliefs to the world. His lyrics spoke of freedom, justice, Africa, and Yah, all wrapped in a beat that moved hearts across the globe. Marley became the global ambassador of the Rastafarian movement, and through his music, millions learned about Haile Selassie, Babylon, and the power of spiritual resistance. Reggae gave Rastas a voice, and that voice echoed far beyond Jamaica. From Africa to Europe, from the Americas to Asia, the Rasta message was now worldwide. Rastafarianism didn't stay in Jamaica. By the late 20th century, it had spread to the USA, the UK, and Africa. In the United States and the UK, Rastafarian culture resonated with marginalized communities, especially those fighting against racial injustice. In Africa, Rastas saw Haile Selassie as a symbol of African pride and unity, and the movement became deeply connected with Pan-African identity. But Rastafarianism wasn't just about religion. It also influenced fashion, with the rise of dreadlocks, Rasta colors, and ethnic wear. It shaped music worldwide through reggae and other genres that carry Rasta themes of love, freedom, and resistance. And it impacted spirituality, inspiring people to reconnect with their African roots and embrace a more natural, peaceful lifestyle. Today, Rastafarianism continues to be a symbol of rebellion, love, and pride, far beyond the shores of Jamaica. While many Rastas believed Haile Selassie was divine, the emperor himself never claimed divinity. In fact, he often rejected the idea that he was God. However, his visit to Jamaica in 1966 was nothing short of historic. Tens of thousands of Jamaicans gathered to greet him as a symbol of African pride and freedom. For many Rastas, it was a powerful confirmation of their beliefs, even if the emperor himself didn't claim the title of Yah. Rastafarianism is more than just a religion. It's a movement, a powerful expression of identity, resistance, and love. It's about reclaiming African pride, rejecting oppression, and living in harmony with nature and spirituality. As Bob Marley once said, "None but ourselves can free our minds." Rastafarianism continues to inspire millions, not only through its faith, but through its message of unity, freedom, and peace. It's a reminder that no matter the struggle, we can always stand tall, with pride and love in our hearts,